And our first main topic today gets submitted to us by one of our Patreon supporters, Ian A. Barth. Well, thank you for being a Patreon supporter, Ian. And Ian writes, "Morning, John and Rob. I was wondering if you saw the report in Variety saying that the Hollywood Foreign Press has officially banned its members from receiving any gifts, trips, and other free items from studios to avoid bribery and swaying the vote during the Golden Globes. Does this finally mark the beginnings of the Globes holding more weight? Thanks, and stay filthy." All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And by the way, RM sends in a super chat badge and live chat. Thank you, RM. All right. For those of you who don't know, and most of you probably do, I think the Golden Globes are a joke. I think they put on a fantastic show. They do. Look, I'll say it straight up. They put on a better show. I think they put on a better show than the Oscars do. The Oscars are credible. The Golden Globes are not. And the main reason that the Golden Globes have no credibility whatsoever is because when you look at the Oscars is a voting body of 7,000 film industry professionals, writers, directors, executives, costume designers, musicians, publicists, blah, blah, all types of people from all different areas and avenues of the filmmaking art make up 7,000 members. The Golden Globes is 65 people who happen to be film journalists working for outlets that are outside of the US, but they themselves live in it. Did you get all that? The Golden Globes is roughly about 65 to 70 film journalists who work for publications that are outside of the US, but they themselves live inside the US. And there's 60 of them. 60 people sit in a room, whatever. By the way, Aiden Foley sends in a super chat badge in live chat as well. Thank you, Aiden. And this has always been a problem, Rob, because, you know, in a situation like that, if you can influence 15 people, well, all of a sudden you've just influenced 25% of the voting base of the Golden Globes. Whereas with the Oscars, you want to influence 25% of the voting base of the Golden Globes, you got to do like 1,750 of them or something like that. It's just such a broad body that when you have a body that size, it insulates you a lot. Not perfectly, but it insulates you from any outside influences that way. The Golden Globes is that. Now, they've just implemented this new rule. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety who writes, "One of the biggest knocks against the Hollywood Foreign Press Association," that is the organization behind the Golden Globes. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association is the organization that puts on the Golden Globes. "One of the biggest knocks against the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, that its members can be swayed by trips, gifts, and other freebies, is going away. The organization confirmed in a statement on Friday that it has approved new gift, travel, and conflict of interest policies. Under these new policies, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association members shall not be permitted to accept promotional materials or other gifts from studios, publicists, actors, directors, or others associated with the motion picture and television programs." Of course, Rob, there was one of the big controversies out of the Golden Globes this year, because the Golden Globes now also covers television, there was a show called Emily in Paris. I believe that's the name of the show, Emily in Paris. And Anne watched a couple of episodes, ditched on it. I watched her watch one episode. I thought it was terrible. And apparently a lot of people thought it was awful. But it got nominated for Best Comedy Series. And then it turns out, which had a lot of people scratching their heads. And it turned out I think it was 20 to 30 members of the Hollywood Press Association literally got flown to Paris, put up in a triple star, French hotel, was given this lavish weekend away in Paris. This isn't like, Rob, your stereotypical junket visit or something from a press person. When you go and cover these things as a press, you're flown economy, you're put into a quick hotel, you get about 5 hours sleep, and as soon as they're done with you, they're putting your ass back on the plane and flying you back. This was different. And then it became, so this is why Emily in Paris. But we've seen things like this before. Is this a good move by them to put in these new rules to get rid of that kind of stuff? Absolutely, it's a good move. Absolutely, it is. No doubt about it. The Emily in Paris situation is a good example of that. So I applaud the Hollywood Foreign Press. which still doesn't have a single black member, by the way. But I applaud the Hollywood Foreign Press for implementing this new rule. Now, as far as the question that Ian was asking, is like, does this give it more credibility? Rob, to me, the answer is no. And the reason to me it still doesn't have credibility is because for me personally, the reason they didn't have credibility wasn't because you could so easily influence these 60 suckers. But it was because, again, of that whole starting premise. The Oscars is 7,000 film industry professionals that go in and do this. This just happens to be this little club of 60 people who happen to work for foreign trade outlets, and they just happen to live in the U.S. Quite frankly, I think the Broadcast Film Critics Association has way more credibility, and I think they're losing credibility, but I think they have way more credibility than the Golden Globes. So the foundational thing about there's just no reason any importance should be ascribed to the Golden Globes. At least in the Oscars, you're being recognized by your fellow actors, writers, costume designers, sound designers, singers, film executives, cinematographers. You're being recognized by your fellow film professionals. This thing is a group of 60, 70 people. It's never meant much. So, good move? I think so. Does it make a big difference? Honestly, I think not. Rob, you've heard about this. What do you make of this move?
I think you're exactly right. And I think, like you said, the credibility here is how many people are actually voting on these awards. I do think that the idea of the Hollywood Foreign Press, that how American entertainment is judged by the rest of the world, has a very valid angle to it. But the problem is, it doesn't seem like much of the world's really having much input. I mean, I would think that what the Hollywood Foreign Press should do that would make it much more credible is expand its membership. Find out, like we talked about, how we have a viewer from Kenya. Is there any members of the foreign press in Kenya? How do the Kenyans view American entertainment? And does it matter? And I think that when it comes to diversity, I'm all about diversity of thought and diversity of opinion. That's what I think we need more of in the world, because we don't hear enough of it. And the Hollywood Foreign Press should expand their membership. And really, if it's called the Hollywood Foreign Press, how about every country on the planet should have members as part of their voting body? That would be exciting. That would be something I could get behind. And that would be something I think that everybody would welcome.
I agree. I mean, that is one of their biggest problems right now, is the fact that they have no representation in there. I mean, look, if you're a group of 5 people and you don't happen to have a black member, it's 5 people. Okay, I get that. If you have 10 people and you don't happen to have, you claim to be this industry, you represent the industry. If you got 10 people in there and you don't have a single black person on it, then you start going, that's starting to look a little, if you have 15 people and still no representation of this industry whatsoever, that's like, okay, this is a problem. But once you have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 individuals in there, and you're all look the same, and you have no representation, and you're not actually representing, I like the way you put it, Rob, you're not actually representing the global view of American Hollywood, which is where the value of the Golden Globes could come into play, then there's a problem, don't you think?
Absolutely. And the thing is, it's not even about skin color. It's about culture. Like when you go to, there's many different countries that have people that have the same skin tone, but they have different cultures. And how do they view stories? And how do they view movies? And how do they view entertainment? And, we want the globe to judge us. People in, how many different states or different countries around the planet are not part of the Hollywood Foreign Press? Well, what they should want is they should want those people. Like, I would want to know how American entertainment is viewed around the world. And I think it's important that we are judged that way. So if we're not doing good, we can do better. And that's what the Hollywood Foreign about is, you go around the world and everybody sees America in a slightly different way. And that's true of our entertainment as well. It's actually a cultural issue. And I want to see more of that. And I think there's a lot of, American entertainment, every part of the globe is affected by our biggest export, which is our entertainment.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that we need to hear more from the rest of the world about what they think of our entertainment. And the Hollywood Foreign Press, I don't even think they have as many members as there are countries around the globe.
They don't.
Like by half. Like they don't even have 50, they don't even represent 50% of the countries around the globe. That's a problem. Until the Hollywood Foreign Press has a member from every country on the planet Earth that is not the United States, they're not doing their job.
I agree. And I'm not saying, look, I'm not saying Greece has to have the same number of representatives in the Hollywood Foreign Press as, say, Germany does.
No.
I'm not, but at least have some representation. If you are the Hollywood Foreign Press, then represent that. And if they could, look, I'll tell you what, they would go a long way with me. Not that they give two shits what John Campea thinks, but I'm just saying they could go a long way with a fan like me if like they expanded to like 300 members. And every country or practically every, maybe not every country in the world even has movie theaters, but close to every country in the world had some representation on there. That would go a long way with me, because I love the way you put it, Rob. Culture over color. I think that would work a lot better.
Yeah. Also, like, for instance, I don't know if there's any, like, Iran has some pretty amazing filmmakers, a few that have made their mark at the Oscars. I know that Iran also has a big car culture. I would like to read Iranian movie reviews about the Fast and the Furious franchise. And I don't think I can, but I would like to. I want to know what they think of these movies in Iran. And I think that's important.
All right. Question is, guys, what do you think about this move? Look, it should not be pessimistic. I think this is a positive move on the part of the Hollywood Foreign Press. This is a good rule to implement. It doesn't address the core problems about what their organization is. A good move, yes, but it doesn't fix the problems. Question is, what do you guys think about this? Jump on down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.